My wife cheated on me with my best friend for almost a year. I caught them, and she went hysterical, lying and trying to ruin my life. This is my story of betrayal and fighting back. Hey Reddit. Throwaway account because my main has too many people who know me. I never thought I'd be posting something like this, but here we are. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, Julia, 31F, for just over 6 years. No kids, decent jobs, a house in the suburbs. From the outside, we looked like a stable, happy couple. People used to tell us they envied how well we got along, how we balanced each other. Yeah. Funny, right? My best friend, Matt, 35M, has been in my life since college. He was the best man at our wedding, helped us move into our first place, and we've been through a lot together. He was like a brother to me. I trusted him. And Julia? She always got along with him, maybe too well in hindsight. The whole thing started about a year ago, when Julia got really into taking care of her health. She wanted to go on more walks, especially in the evenings. I was cool with it. She worked remotely, and I figured it was a good way for her to get out of the house. At first I went with her, but my work hours picked up, and I started coming home later. That's when she started inviting Matt along instead. At first I thought, hey, at least she's not alone. I actually encouraged it. Matt's always been a fitness guy, and Julia said it motivated her to stay on track. They'd go for an hour or two, sometimes grab smoothies afterward, and come home laughing about some stupid thing they saw on the trail. I didn't think anything of it. Then it went from just evening walks to morning ones too. Then lunch walks. Then Saturday hikes. They started hanging out even when I was home. Julia would say things like, "You were tired, babe, so Matt and I just went to the park for a bit." Matt would show up with coffee for both of them. Julia would giggle at his jokes in a way she hadn't with mine for months. Still, I shrugged it off. She's just getting along with my best friend, I told myself. Sometimes I wonder if I was just willfully blind. If I ignored signs because I didn't want to believe either of them were capable of something like that. My wife cheating? My best friend? Nah. Not in my world. Not with how much trust we had. Except, looking back now, there were moments. There were weird, awkward silences when I'd walk into the room. Times when I'd catch Julia quickly closing her messages on her phone when I came around. The sudden new lingerie phase, the unexpected. Nights out with the girls. That felt a little too convenient. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who snoops or questions every move. So I played the chill husband. I played the fool. But all of that was about to change. Something was coming. I didn't know it then, but my whole life was about to detonate in the most humiliating way possible, and it all started with a simple walk in the park that never actually happened. So, like I said, everything blew up over something as small as a walk in the park. Or rather, a walk that never happened. It was a random Wednesday. Nothing special. But around noon, I got a call from work. A busted pipe in the office meant we were closing early. I didn't tell Julia. I figured I'd surprise her, maybe take her out for lunch. Just reconnect. Things had felt off, and I thought, maybe she just needs a little spark. On my way home, I grabbed her favorite pastries from this French bakery she likes, the kind that takes forever to get to. I was genuinely excited. Dumb, I know. I pulled into the driveway around 12:40. Matt's car wasn't there. That registered in the back of my mind, but I didn't think too much of it. Maybe he didn't come over that day. I walked inside quietly. No reason. I wasn't trying to sneak up on her or anything, I just wanted to surprise her. The house was oddly quiet. I expected to hear her music playing from the kitchen like usual, but nothing. Then I heard it. Voices. From upstairs. Muffled, but definitely not arguing. Definitely not innocent. My stomach dropped. I don't even remember making the decision to go up there. My body just moved. My brain was screaming no, 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 but my feet kept climbing the stairs. And then I opened the door to our bedroom. There they were. Julia. My wife. The woman I promised forever to. Matt. My best friend since I was 19. Practically my brother. Naked. Together. In my bed. And the worst part? They didn't even notice me right away. They were laughing. She was laughing in his arms. Like I'd never even existed. I froze. The bag with the pastries hit the floor. That's when they finally noticed. Julia screamed like I was the one intruding. She grabbed the blanket and started yelling, not apologizing, not explaining, yelling at me. What the hell are you doing home? Why are you sneaking around like some creep? Jesus, can't I have one private moment without you spying on me? Private moment? In our house? With my best friend? Matt tried to talk. I don't even remember what he said. Something like, "Bro, it's not what it looks like." Classic line. I think I laughed. A weird, broken laugh. Julia, on the other hand, went full psycho mode. She wrapped herself in the blanket and blamed me. Said I was emotionally distant. Said I pushed her into this. Claimed it was just a mistake, that meant nothing. and then in the same breath turned around and said they were in love. Which is it, Julia? She started sobbing. Screaming. Knocking over things like she was in some Lifetime movie. I didn't say a word. I just walked out. Got in my car. Drove until I couldn't feel anything. Then parked in an empty lot and stared at the steering wheel for 2 hours. Everything I believed about my life shattered in a second. My wife. My best friend. My marriage. Gone. But that wasn't the end. Oh no, Reddit. That was just the beginning of the madness. So I spent a couple of hours in the car trying to breathe, trying to think. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. The image burned into my brain like acid. And Julia's screaming. I swear, it echoed in my head like a bad dream I couldn't shake off. Eventually, I drove to my brother's place across town. Told him I needed a couch. Didn't explain much, just that things with Julia had blown up. He didn't ask questions. That's the kind of guy he is. I crashed on his couch that night, still in shock. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I felt numb. Like my entire life had been scrubbed away and replaced with static. The next morning, I turned on my phone. 28 missed messages. 17 texts. 5 voicemails. All from Julia. And the wildest thing? Not one of them was an apology. Not one. Instead, they were long, chaotic rants. Accusing me of being controlling. Saying I'd neglected her for years. One voicemail actually said, I wouldn't have needed Matt if you hadn't shut down emotionally. Do you even realize how cold you've become? I didn't want this. You made this happen. I wanted to scream. I wanted to punch a wall. Instead, I listened. All of it. Just to hear what kind of twisted narrative she was trying to build. Apparently, I was to blame for everything. For her betrayal. For Matt's betrayal. For not understanding her emotional needs. She even texted me, saying, I'm sorry you had to find out that way. But maybe it's better. Now you can finally admit our marriage was broken. No. You broke it, Julia. Later that day, Matt had the balls to text me too. I never meant for it to happen. It just did. We didn't plan it. I swear I still value our friendship. He valued our friendship? The man who was literally inside my wife when I walked in. Yeah, bro, totally. I ignored them both. Blocked Matt. Left Julia's number unblocked, not because I wanted to talk, but because I wanted to keep a record. Something told me I'd need it. That afternoon, I called a lawyer. I wasn't about to play the let's fix this game. I was done. I was finished being the clueless husband. I was done being their emotional punching bag. The lawyer walked me through the basics of filing for divorce. No kids, no major debt, and the house was in my name before marriage, thank God. But the emotional fallout? That was gonna be a storm. And the storm came fast. Because that night, Julia showed up at my brother's place. Sobbing. Screaming. Banging on the door like a lunatic. I need to talk to you. Stop hiding from me. You're acting like a child. My brother told her to leave or he was calling the cops. She called him an enabler. She stood on the porch for 15 more minutes, crying and yelling, until the neighbors came out and started recording her. That was the first night I realized she wasn't just a cheater. She wasn't just selfish. She was unhinged. And trust me, Reddit, it only got crazier from there. So after the front porch meltdown, I figured she'd cool off. Maybe disappear for a few days. Let the lawyer handle things from here. Nope. Julia doesn't. Cool off. Julia escalates. 2 days after the screaming match outside my brother's place, she showed up at my job. Not a text. Not a call. She pulled into the office parking lot like she was coming to pick up her husband from work like old times, except this time, she was in full-blown meltdown mode. I was walking to my car after a long day, still feeling like a shell of myself, when I saw her leaning against my car. Arms crossed. Eyes red. Lip twitching. I froze. Part of me thought about turning around and walking back inside. But she spotted me before I could. There you are, she said, like I'd been avoiding a dentist appointment, not recovering from betrayal. What are you doing here? I asked. I kept my voice low. I was praying no coworkers were still around. I needed to talk to you, she hissed, marching up to me like I owed her something. You won't answer my messages. You won't let me explain. Explain what? How she carried on a full-blown affair with my best friend under my nose. She kept going. Loud enough that people walking to their cars stopped and stared. I made a mistake, okay? But this isn't all my fault. You can't just throw away 6 years because of one bad decision. One bad decision? I snapped, trying to keep my voice down. Julia, you weren't drunk at a party. You were sleeping with my best friend in our bed. 4 months. She actually had the nerve to roll her eyes and say, You're being so dramatic. I had to physically step back before I said something I'd regret. Then came the crocodile tears. Again. She broke down right there in the lot, sobbing into her hands, then throwing her arms at me like she expected a hug. I didn't move. Please, she whispered. Don't let this be how it ends. You're just angry right now. You'll forgive me, eventually. That shook me. She expected forgiveness. Like it was part of the routine. She cheats, I hurt, we work on it. And she walks away consequence-free. I told her straight up. I've already filed for divorce. She went from sobbing to screaming in 3 seconds flat. You're making a huge mistake. You think anyone else will put up with your emotional walls? You're throwing away someone who actually loved you. That was it. I walked away. Got in my car. Left her screaming in the lot like a maniac. My phone blew up with 10 more texts before I even hit the freeway. And later that night, she sent me a photo of her and Matt, smiling, at a bar. Like they were taunting me. Like they'd won. I didn't respond. But I took a screenshot. Because something told me, again, this wasn't just a messy breakup. This was war. After the work parking lot scene and the taunting selfie with Matt, I thought I'd seen peak insanity. Nope. Julia was just getting warmed up. The next morning, my HR manager asked if I had a minute to talk. I thought maybe someone had overheard the parking lot drama and was concerned. But no. Turns out, Julia had called my office. She told them I was having a mental health crisis. That I was unstable and threatening to hurt people. And she was just so concerned. Yeah. My own wife, who cheated on me with my best friend, tried to make me look like a danger to others just because I wouldn't roll over and take it. Luckily, my manager knows me well. He asked how things were at home, and when I explained briefly what was going on, he just nodded and said, "Take what time you need. We've got your back." I was grateful. But inside, I was seething. Julia had crossed into scorched earth territory. Later that day, I got a call from a mutual friend, someone who'd been at our wedding and stayed neutral through all this. He said, "Hey man, I don't know what's going on with Julia, but she's telling people you cheated first." Excuse me? Apparently, Julia was going around telling friends that I had an affair years ago, and she had finally snapped. She told people I was cold, manipulative, that she was emotionally abandoned for years, and had tried everything before finding comfort in Matt. It was pure fiction. But the way she told it? She made herself sound like a victim of emotional abuse. And you know what? A few people believed her. Because of course they did. Julia knows how to perform. She knows how to cry at just the right time, how to throw in just enough truth to make a lie believable. She turned my silence into guilt, my distance into emotional cruelty. And Matt? That spineless snake? He was backing her up. Telling people they didn't plan to fall in love. That it just happened. And that I had checked out of the marriage years ago. I was furious. I started collecting everything. Texts, call logs, voicemails, even that selfie at the bar. I wanted proof. If she tried to come after me legally, I needed to be ready. And then the final bomb of the week dropped. Julia hired a lawyer. Not just to fight the divorce, but to try and get spousal support. That's right. She cheated. She lied. She tried to destroy my friendships and ruin my name. And now she wanted me to pay her for it. My lawyer said we'd fight it, and we would. But in the meantime, I had to sit and watch my name get dragged through the mud while the woman who blew up our marriage played the victim on social media. Oh, and did I mention she posted a cryptic Instagram story with the caption, "Sometimes the heart wants what it needs, not what it's used to. Broken heart sparkles." With a pic of Matt's hoodie on her couch. I wanted to throw my phone into the ocean. But I kept my cool. Because the storm was building. And when it hit, I was going to be ready. So, after Julia tried to slander me at work, lie to our friends, and hit me with spousal support paperwork, I told myself I wasn't going to engage with her anymore. No texts. No calls. No reactions. I figured if I cut off the oxygen supply, the fire would die out. I underestimated just how desperate and unstable she really was. It was a Sunday night. I was sitting on my brother's couch, half watching some mindless TV, half reading through legal docs from my lawyer, when his security camera app pinged his phone. He checked it. Then he looked up at me and said, You might want to come look at this." It was Julia, standing at the side gate. At 10:30 at night. She had a hoodie pulled up, like that somehow made her less recognizable. She tried the gate. It was locked. So she crouched down and started messing with the latch like she was in a spy movie. My brother hit the mic on the security cam and said, "You've got 5 seconds to leave before I call the cops." She looked startled. Like she hadn't expected anyone to be watching. Then she took off down the street like a raccoon caught in a garbage can. I was stunned. This wasn't just unstable ex-behavior anymore. This was borderline criminal. My brother reported the incident just in case it escalated. The police took a statement and said they'd do a drive-by check of the neighborhood for the next few nights. And what was Julia's response? She texted me, "So now you're calling the cops on me? Wow. You really are heartless. I just wanted to talk." Talk? At nearly 11 p.m. By sneaking through a locked side gate. I didn't reply. But my lawyer sent her a formal no-contact letter the next morning. And you know what she did after that? She posted a storytime video on TikTok, yes, TikTok, where she didn't use my name, but clearly painted herself as the betrayed wife of a cold, cruel man who abandoned her in her darkest hour. Comments were full of, "Ugh, men are trash. You're so strong for surviving this. He doesn't deserve you, Queen Crown." She even had the audacity to pin a comment that said, "You're better off without him. Cheating is a symptom, not a cause." At that point, I realized something. Julia didn't just cheat. She didn't just betray me. She was trying to rewrite the entire history of our marriage to make herself the heroine in a story where I was the villain. And Matt? He was now popping up in the background of her videos. Half hidden, pretending to be coy. Like they were some cute, soft launch couple. I was done playing nice. It was time to take things up a level. My lawyer and I were about to make her very uncomfortable. After the break-in attempt and her TikTok pity parade, I knew it was time to stop reacting and start responding, with strategy. I talked to my lawyer and explained everything. The harassment, the lies, the trespassing, the TikToks, even the spousal support stunt. He took a long pause and said, "Okay. Then let's go on offense. First move?" We filed for an emergency protective order. Julia had crossed every line, showing up at my workplace, trying to break into private property, using social media to harass and slander. It wasn't just embarrassing anymore, it was threatening. The order would legally prevent her from contacting me, coming near me, or showing up at my family's homes. It also created an official record of her behavior. The moment she got served, I found out through Instagram. She posted this cryptic caption on a photo of her sobbing in a car. "Funny how men only call you crazy when they can't control the narrative anymore. Oh please. You don't get to cry victim when you're the one who cheated, lied, stalked, and spun stories for internet clout." The second big move? I finally told our circle of friends the full truth. No more quiet dignity. No more protecting her reputation. I sat down, made a clean timeline, collected screenshots, and sent out one group message. I didn't insult her. I didn't rant. I just presented the facts. Dates. Voicemails. Her messages. Even the TikTok clips where she basically outed herself. And the shift was instant. People started texting me, saying things like, "Man, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that bad. She told us you were the one cheating. This is messed up. I feel like I fell for her act." One friend even showed me a message Julia sent the day after I caught her with Matt, saying I was spiraling, and she feared for her safety. When I confronted my lawyer about that, he said, "She's trying to build a defense in case she gets exposed. But the paper trail is going to kill her credibility." That's when we hit the nuclear button. We filed a motion to dismiss her spousal support claim with evidence of infidelity and harassment. In our state, that kind of behavior doesn't just void her claim, it makes her legally liable for malicious intent during divorce proceedings. Translation, she could end up paying me. That's when Julia started cracking. Because for the first time, she wasn't in control of the story. For the first time, I had the upper hand. And you better believe she didn't take that lightly. The next time she lashed out, she dragged my family into it. So once the court filings went through and I pushed back hard, Julia did what toxic people always do when they start losing power. She dragged other people into it. It started with my mom. Now, my mom's a sweet, old-school woman who still believes marriage can be saved. And everyone deserves a second chance. She'd stayed mostly neutral up until this point, hurt, but still polite to Julia. One day, my mom called me sounding upset. Like, visibly shaken. Apparently, Julia had shown up at her house. Unannounced. Crying. Saying she was afraid I was turning into a dangerous man. That she was worried I was getting revenge by manipulating the legal system to ruin her life. She even tried to pull the "I still love him, Mrs. D. I don't know what happened to us." My mom, bless her heart, invited her in for tea. She told me Julia spent 2 hours painting this picture of herself as a victim of coldness, betrayal, and abandonment. Said I was emotionally unstable, unwilling to communicate, and that I brainwashed my friends into turning on her. My mom didn't say much in return, just listened. But she called me right after. "Son," she said, "I tried to believe she was just hurt. But she's not just hurt. She's not right. Something's wrong with her." And I agreed. Then she hit my sister next. My sister Anna is not as soft as my mom. Julia messaged her a wall of text on Facebook about how I was twisting the narrative and turning everyone against her. Anna replied with a single sentence. "Girl, you kid your husband's best friend. You twisted the narrative." Blocked. Then came the anonymous DMs to mutual friends. One friend, Jason, sent me a screenshot of a fake account messaging him. "You don't know the whole story. He's not as innocent as he pretends to be. Ask about the secret messages." What messages? There were no messages. It was a bluff. A dirty bluff. The best part? Julia wasn't subtle. Her writing style is unmistakable. The emojis, the grammar, the way she uses phrases like, "The truth will come out," and "Trust your gut." We traced at least 3 burner accounts back to her IP, and my lawyer added that evidence to our harassment file. At this point, she was unraveling in real time. But the icing on the cake? She tried to turn Matt into some kind of saint. She posted a long caption on Instagram with a black and white photo of her holding his hand across the table. "You never expect the person you need to be the one waiting in the shadows. I don't regret following my heart. I regret wasting time trying to fix what was already broken." Oh. So now I was the mistake. The marriage was just dead weight she had to shed in order to find her. Truth. Here's what's really wild though. Matt messaged me. Again. Not to apologize. Not to make amends. But to say, "I think it's time we talk man to man. Things got messy, but I never wanted this to go down like it did. Let's grab a beer and clear the air." A beer. With the guy who slept with my wife. I didn't even respond. Because I had something better planned. Matt didn't know it yet, but karma was already coming for him. So, after Matt sent me that ridiculous "let's grab a beer" text, I realized something. He thought he'd won. He got the girl. He got the sympathy. He got to play the role of the supportive, new man, while I was supposedly crumbling in the shadows. But what he didn't know, he was being watched. And not by me. Turns out, Matt had a girlfriend. A long-term girlfriend. A woman named Erica who lived in another city, about 90 minutes away. They'd been together for nearly 4 years. She wasn't just a girl he used to see. She was his real partner, until Julia came along and blew it all up. I didn't even know about Erica until she messaged me. Yep. One glorious Monday morning, I got a DM from a woman named Erica who simply wrote, "Hey. I think we need to talk. I just found out who Julia is." I messaged her back, and we set up a phone call. What she told me was unreal. Matt had been double-timing both of them. Telling Erica he was busy with work and hanging out with the guys, all while he was sneaking around with Julia. She found out when she stumbled across Julia's TikTok, specifically, a video where his hand, complete with his very recognizable tattoo, was very clearly in the frame. Erica was livid. Not just because of the cheating, but because she just signed a lease with Matt. They were planning to move in together in August. Now, she dumped him, cancelled the lease, and posted everything on her socials. She even tagged Julia in one of the posts and wrote, "Hope you're proud of the trash you stole. He lied to me for years. He'll lie to you too." Julia didn't respond. But guess who did? Matt. He messaged me again, this time pissed. "Bro. Did you tell Erica? What the hell is wrong with you? You ruined my relationship." Excuse me? I didn't even know Erica existed until she came to me. I didn't reply. I just screenshotted the message and sent it to my lawyer. More evidence of manipulation, blame shifting, and emotional instability from both of them. From what I heard through the grapevine, Matt tried to move in with Julia full-time after Erica dumped him. Big mistake. Because Julia, as we all know by now, isn't built for quiet, stable cohabitation. Within a week, they were posting cryptic quotes about toxic energy, and fake love, and healing alone. I guess when the affair becomes real life, the thrill dies fast. And me? I was finally catching my breath. The divorce case was gaining speed. My lawyer had solid evidence, a clean timeline, and even my HR department on record to back up my version of events. But the final straw, the one that made me laugh out loud, came just a few days later. Julia emailed me. Not texted. Emailed. Like we were coworkers. "I think we should sit down and talk one more time before the divorce is finalized. Just you and me. No lawyers. Just honesty." Honesty? From her? I didn't reply. But I did add the email to the evidence pile. Because something told me Julia wasn't giving up yet. And oh boy, read it. She had one more insane move up her sleeve. Yeah. You read that right. Just when I thought Julia had run out of insane cards to play, she threw down a wild one. She faked being pregnant. It started with a text. Blocked number. No name. Just this. "I think you should know. I'm pregnant." No punctuation. No explanation. Just those words. I knew instantly who it was. I didn't respond. 15 minutes later, another message came in. "It's yours. We need to talk. Please don't ignore me." Mine? We hadn't slept together in months before I caught her with Matt. I wasn't stupid. She wasn't even trying to be convincing. But the fact that she said it was mine told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't trying to build a life with Matt. She was panicking and trying to drag me back in. I still didn't reply. 2 hours later? A long email. Subject line. "We need to put the past behind us, for the baby's sake." The email was full of emotional manipulation. Paragraphs about starting fresh, rebuilding trust, and how Maybe this was God's way of giving us a second chance. She attached a blurry photo of a dollar store pregnancy test. And that was the moment I actually laughed out loud. You'd think a woman pulling this kind of scheme would at least Google image search a better fake test. It looked like she drew the second line on with a red marker. But here's where it got next level. She told people. Not just me. She told her friends. She told my mother. She even posted a cryptic story with a baby emoji and the caption, "New beginning seedling baby dizzy." My mom called me in a panic. "Son, is she really?" "No, Mom. She's not." Then Julia started leaving messages saying things like, "I've scheduled a doctor's appointment. You can come if you want. I want to prove to you I'm serious." So I called my lawyer. Explained everything. He sighed and said, "I've seen this exact move before. She's trying to delay the divorce." He drafted a letter demanding official medical verification of the pregnancy from a licensed OBGYN. He also included a warning that filing any false statements during an active legal proceeding could be considered fraud. 3 days later? Silence. No reply. No news stories. No baby emojis. Not even a fake ultrasound. She just dropped it. Like it never happened. But by then, the damage was already done. Half of her followers and a few of our more gullible friends had congratulated her. And when she went dark, they started messaging me. "Is it true? Is there really a baby? Why won't you support her?" And then came the kicker. Matt messaged me again. This time with just one line. "Tell me she's lying." I didn't reply. But deep down, I was smiling. Because if he was doubting her now, then Julia's house of cards was finally collapsing. After the fake pregnancy stunt fizzled out, I thought maybe Julia would finally back off. Nope. Instead, she doubled down, with a lie so brazen it made my head spin. One afternoon, I got a call from the building manager of our old apartment complex. She said Julia had showed up there, claiming she needed to collect some personal items. But when the manager asked for ID or permission, Julia got defensive, then threatened to call the cops. Apparently, she told the manager some wild story about me being abusive, unreliable, and trying to cut her out of our life illegally. That was when the manager, who'd known me for years and never had a single complaint, called me. I told my lawyer immediately. We sent a cease and desist letter. But then came the real kicker. That evening, Julia posted a video on social media, crying and claiming she was homeless, abandoned, and wrongfully evicted by me. People flooded her with support. That is, until I leaked the security footage of her arguing with the building manager, footage that showed Julia refusing to leave when politely asked and threatening staff. I posted it on a private group chat with mutual friends. The reactions? Priceless. Wow, she really is insane. Why lie about something like that? She's making herself look so bad. Within hours, Julia's homeless victim story was debunked everywhere. She tried to fight back with more crying videos, calling me a monster. But by then, almost no one believed her. Even Matt started distancing himself. He stopped posting with her on social media and deleted some old pictures. But Julia? She went full meltdown mode. She started blasting me with texts, emails, and voice messages every hour. Some were sobbing apologies, others were threats about making me pay and destroying my reputation. She called me a liar, a cheater, and my personal favorite, a coward hiding behind his lawyer. The funny thing? I hadn't said a word to her. I let the evidence speak. And it spoke volumes. By now, the divorce was moving fast, and Julia was more desperate than ever. She started showing up at places I frequented. Coffee shops, the gym, even outside my lawyer's office. Each time, she'd put on the most dramatic, tearful performance possible, trying to guilt or intimidate me into talking. One afternoon, I was walking into a bookstore when I heard a voice behind me shouting my name. I turned around, and there she was. Julia, tears streaming, flailing her arms, accusing me loudly of ruining her life, stealing her happiness, and turning everyone against her. People started stopping, pulling out phones, and recording. She didn't care. I kept walking. The next day, she posted a detailed rant on Facebook titled, "How I Survived My Husband's Betrayal, and the Friends Who Turned Their Backs on Me." She went on about how no one believed her, how men always get the benefit of the doubt, and how toxic masculinity hides behind fake smiles. The comments exploded, some supportive, some skeptical. I didn't respond publicly, but I sent a message to close friends with facts, evidence, and timelines to set the record straight. The backlash against her lies was so strong that within 48 hours, she deleted the post and made her account private. But then came the worst part. She started calling my employer again. This time, she sent a detailed email accusing me of harassment and emotional abuse, and demanded they investigate me. HR took it seriously, naturally. I had to sit through interviews, explain everything, and show proof that I was the victim. It was exhausting. Humiliating. But I stayed calm. Because I knew one thing for sure. No matter how crazy Julia got, the truth was on my side. And when it finally came out, it would be her who lost. After months of chaos, lies, and emotional warfare, the day of our first court hearing finally arrived. I walked into that courtroom feeling a mix of exhaustion and cautious hope. My lawyer had prepared me well. All the texts, voicemails, security footage, and witness statements were laid out clearly. Julia arrived late, looking disheveled, but still trying to put on a brave face. She had her own lawyer, who tried to spin her narrative, accusing me of being controlling and emotionally neglectful. But the judge wasn't buying it. When Julia started rambling, the judge cut her off gently but firmly. Then my lawyer presented the evidence, from the moment I caught them together, to her stalking incidents, fake pregnancy stunt, and social media harassment. The judge asked a few tough questions, and Julia's story started to crumble under pressure. She contradicted herself multiple times, and her so-called witnesses didn't back her up. In the end, the judge granted the divorce petition, dismissed her spousal support claim, and issued a restraining order to keep Julia away from me and my family. It felt like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. But the best part: Julia's reputation was officially ruined. I started hearing from friends and coworkers who said they'd been skeptical but didn't want to get involved. Now they felt free to support me openly. Even Matt disappeared from social media. Last I heard, he was trying to fix things with Erica, but I doubt that's going well. For the first time in a long time, I felt a spark of peace. With the divorce finalized and the restraining order in place, I finally had some space to breathe. The first few weeks were tough. I had to relearn how to be single after 6 years of marriage, and process everything that happened. But slowly, I started focusing on me. I reconnected with old friends who had been quietly supportive. I started therapy, because, let's be real, betrayal like that leaves scars. I hit the gym regularly, not just for my body but to clear my head. Work became my refuge. I threw myself into projects, trying to rebuild not just my career, but my confidence. And the funny thing? Without Julia's chaos, I found moments of genuine happiness again. I traveled to places I'd wanted to see for years. I picked up hobbies I'd forgotten I loved. Most importantly, I learned to trust myself again. I won't pretend it's easy. Sometimes, the memories hit hard. Sometimes, the loneliness gets overwhelming. But I'm stronger now. Wiser. And I'm done letting someone else's lies define me. Julia? She's a chapter I'm closing. My future? I'm writing that myself. It's been almost a year since the divorce was finalized. I won't lie, it was one of the hardest years of my life. But I've learned a lot. First, people aren't always who they seem to be. Sometimes, the people closest to you can hurt you the most. Second, silence isn't always strength. Speaking up and standing your ground matters, especially when your truth is being twisted. Third, healing isn't linear. Some days are good, some days are tough. But every day is a step forward. And finally, I've learned to trust myself again. I'm grateful for the friends and family who stood by me when Julia and Matt tried to destroy everything. Without them, I don't know where I'd be. As for Julia, I don't follow her on social media anymore. I've deleted her number and blocked her everywhere. It's not about hatred, it's about peace. I'm focusing on building a life where honesty, respect, and trust come first. Because at the end of the day, that's what real love is about, not lies, not betrayal, but genuine connection. Thanks for reading my story, Reddit. If you're going through something similar, know you're not alone. Stay strong.